This is the first ever legendary Warbond introduced to us, and it comes with a premium price tag of 1,500 super credits. That's a steep jump from the standard Warbonds we've seen. So the big question is this a legitimate, meta-defining upgrade for your Helldiver to buy, purchase, and use, or are you just paying for a heavy dose of Halo nostalgia? Today, we're not looking just into the stats, we're taking this entire arsenal straight into the fire. We're deploying this to the deadliest fronts on Helldiver difficulty to see if their performance justifies the premium price. This is the ultimate field test, and we're going to find out just how good the setup really is. Let's drop in and find out. Kicking things off, let's take a look at the armor set. We have two armor sets to use, with both being medium armor, which is a surprise compared to what we got in the past. They both have armor passive called Feet First, which states, weather makes 50% less noise when moving, increased point of interest identification range by 30%, provides immunity to leg injuries. Firstly, look-wise, it's a straight-up masterpiece for anyone who loves that classic ODST vibe. This is probably the first time in a good while where players get to play as an ODST trooper in fit and all, and actually enjoy something that players have been longing for. The fit melds well in the game, design takes great inspiration from the past Halo games, and they also work pretty well when you swap either armor or helmet out for something else. For the passive, it's a decent, well-rounded passive we kind of seen before. It's reliable, for sure, especially when paired up with the new SMG, as you can use this to sneak around and take out targets quietly. That's not something we've been able to do before, and I know many players do enjoy that type of gameplay, but it doesn't exactly scream game changer, especially not for a Warbond that seems to be pushing a stealth angle. It's solid, it's not going to be for everyone, but it's a decent one nonetheless. And this will cost you 45 and 55 separately. Alright, onto the MA5C AR, and this is the one that a lot of us Halo fans have been waiting for. It has that classic look and that familiar feel. Stat-wise, it's packing medium armor penetration, which immediately makes it way more interesting than the SMG. On paper, it looks like a solid side grade to Liberator Penetrator. The fire rate is decent, and it handles like a dream. But let's get this on the field. Against the bugs, bots and squids, that medium penetration is a game changer. You can finally challenge Hive Guards, Overseers and Devastators pretty damn well and punch through their defenses, which is a huge step up. It feels good to use, the recoil is manageable, and is effective at clearing out those medium-sized threats that can bog a squad down. However, and this is a big however, it suffers from having a tiny magazine. You will be reloading constantly. When you're in the middle of a frantic defense, staring down a horde of enemies, running dry after a few seconds of firing is a death sentence. It feels like you're spending more time in reload animation than you do actually fighting, and while doing burst fire does allow you to be more precise with your shots, it's still quite an issue with the tiny mag in hand. That low ammo count per mag is a critical flaw. When you're trying to suppress and have to duck out to reload every 5 seconds, you lose all that momentum. It's a weapon that feels like it's constantly fighting its own limitations. The verdict? It's a good weapon. Not a great one, but a good one. It's held back by a crippling small magazine that makes it frustrating in any sustained fight. It's a contender, but doesn't dethrone the meta kings like the Scorcher or the Sickle. It's viable, but you have to get into a very specific rhythm of firing, reloading that might not work for every Helldiver. But it's definitely a good AR to use once you get over its flaw, and this will cost you 35 medals. Now for the M7S SMG. On paper, this thing is intriguing. It has light armor penetration rounds, and here's the kicker, it comes with a built-in suppressor. In a game where one wrong move can pull every patrol with a 2-mile radius, a silenced primary sounds like a godsend, right? So how does it feel in the chaos of a bug breach, for example? Against scavengers and other small fries, it does the job. Whispering death into a patrol before they even know you're there is incredibly satisfying. The problem starts when things get heavy. Against anything with a hint of armor like a Hive Guard, you might as well be throwing rocks. It can still deal with enemies with specific armor in specific areas fairly well, and with its pinpoint accuracy and smooth firing, it can actually work out really well when paired up with the, say, ballistic shield for example, allowing you to take on damage while still being a noticeable threat here and there. This is also quite noticeable when used on the squid fronts, and you want to take out the voters quietly, as that built-in suppressor will prevent the horde from rushing you. Against the automatrons, the M7S finds a slightly better home here. You can surgically pick off standard troopers from distance without alerting the whole base, which is a fantastic way to thin the herd before the real fight kicks in. But the moment a Devastator stomps around the corner, you have to switch out. The SMG just can't punch through the armor, and you'll be turned into scrap metal yourself while you try. However, with practice, these types of enemies become less and less of a problem once you aim at their weak points with the pinpoint accuracy. And honestly, that ballistic shield combo is probably the best way to use it when playing on the bot front. My verdict is a specialized tool. It's fun and it encourages a different playstyle that, once mastered, can really outshine a number of SMGs in game already. But do remember, it is not a reliable workhorse for all enemy types. It's a scalpel in a game that often demands slow and precise playstyle. For players who love coordinating stealthy approaches with a squad, it has a place. For everyone else, it's a novelty item that will likely gather dust in your armory, and this will cost you 50 medals. But before we break down the weapon that might just justify the entire price tag on its own, if this field report is helping you out, how about reinforcing the channel and hitting that subscribe button? We drop in every new piece of gear to give you on the higher difficulty intel you need to spend managed democracy. Your subscription is the best support weapon we can always ask for. Now, this is where this Warbond really starts to make its case. Let's talk about the M90A Shotgun. The second you get this thing in your hands, you know it's different. It's a pump action, so the fire rate is slow, but every single shot packs an incredible punch. The standout feature here is the stagger and manual reload feature. This thing can stop almost anything in its track per round shot, and with thanks to the ability to manually reload, you can fire, reload, as much as you like. Taking this into the bug or squid nest fest is just pure democratic joy. A pack of hunters closing in? Well, one place shot sends them tumbling, giving you room to breathe. A stalker trying to get a jump on you? You can blast it mid-lunge, leaving it wide open for a follow-up. A overseer showing you a hard time? Let them eat lead, and sort out the rest later. It gives you crowd control that very few primaries can offer. You become a mobile defense platform, able to hold a choke point against the insane odds, and honestly, if it had medium pen instead of light pen, I could see this weapon becoming the most go-to meta-defining weapon to ever use for all fronts. And I don't think I'm joking with this one. But how about the automatrons, since they are a bit more armoured and generally tough to deal with? The M90A just keeps on shining. A Devastator marching on your position can be staggered with a few quick blasts here and there, stopping it from ever firing its rocket barrage. It absolutely demolishes berserkers, stopping their chainsaw charge dead. The slow fire rate means you have to be deliberate. You can't just panic fire into a crowd, but every shot that lands feels impactful. It rewards good positioning and smart target selection. My verdict on weapon is S tier. It's an absolute beast in a general contender for one of the best primaries weapons in the game. It provides a unique mix of damage and utility that is incredibly valuable on Helldive. The shotgun alone might be worth the price of admission for a lot of players. It's fantastic, powerful, and deeply satisfying to use. And this will cost you only 65 medals. And round out the Warbond, we have the M60 SOCOM pistol. This is another piece of iconic Halo hardware. As a secondary, it has high damage with great accuracy that can put down a medium-sized enemy in a pinch if you land your shots. It's a massive step up from the standard pistols we normally use. In practice, it's an incredibly reliable sidearm. When your primary runs dry and an enemy gets in your face, switching to the following and quickly dropping it with a few well-placed headshots feels amazing. It's the perfect partner for a weapon with a long reload, like a machine gun or an autocannon. Is it going to completely change how you play? No, but it's a top tier secondary that you'll be damn glad you have when things generally go sideways. Absolutely, and this will cost you only 75 medals, which is a lot for a sidearm. So after running the entire ODST arsenal through the Helldive meat grinder, it's time for the after action report. Should you spend 1,500 super credits on this legendary Warbond? So here's my final take. If you're a pure meta chaser, or someone who needs every single item to be a top tier competitive pick, then this Warbond might be a tough sell. Not every weapon is a meta shattering powerhouse. However, if you're a fan of the Halo style, or if you're looking for a primary that offers some incredible utility and stopping power, then the answer is yes. The M90A Shotgun is so effective, and so satisfying, that it pretty much carries the entire Warbond on its own shoulders. For pure, across the board, viability, I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10. But for the fun factor, the nostalgia, and the raw power of that glorious shotgun and AR, it's an 8 out of 10. It's a pricey investment, but for the die-hard ODST fans, or for those who want to control the battlefield one blast at a time, this drop is worth the credits. But hey, that's my take after a dozen Helldivers, and many deaths. But what do you think? Is a shotgun enough to justify the price? Let me know your thoughts on the new Warbond down in the comments, and if you want to see more high-level Helldivers 2 analysis, make sure to subscribe and ring that bell button. Once again, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.